So it's so funny. I remember some years ago, I was listening to like this doctor, this health expert in my space, I think in the plant-based space. And I distinctly remember this aha moment. And I remember this doctor talking about the science. They were talking about longevity and kind of the science of longevity. And they said that there's a difference between lifespan and health span. I never forget that moment. I never forget the moment where it was brought to my attention that just striving to live long is not enough. Like, I never forget the moment where it was brought to my attention that the goal should not just be to stay alive. Like, so for so many of us, like, that's how we're trained. Like, as far as health goes and life goes, it's just like, waking up is the blessing, right? Just being here another day is the blessing. So I remember when this particular doctor or expert was presenting evidence for why we should not be aiming just to stay alive, but we should really be setting our sights on improving our health span, right? Our healthy life expectancy and not just our life expectancy. And I was like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I've been shooting for the wrong star? Like, I remember thinking like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me just living long is not enough? And so it was at that moment that I started getting semi obsessed with improving my healthy life expectancy. And if you have listened to me for any amount of time, you know our mission at my company is to extend the healthy life expectancy for people of color, right? And so it used to be to extend the life expectancy for people of color. Like, we said that for years. But when I got privy to the fact that life expectancy and healthy life expectancy are two different numbers, I was like, game over, game over. I should not just be aiming to stay alive. I should be aiming to stay alive and be healthy. And so, what I want to share with you guys briefly today is 5 ways to improve your healthy life expectancy. Because I was like, dang, Lisa, this is your professional mission. This is your personal mission. But have you ever come on and gave them a direct data to help them specifically improve their healthy life expectancy? Now, y'all know I come on here all day and talk about plants. Like, it's plants every damn day for us, right? So y'all already know a plant-based diet is going to be one of the 5, right? But I was like, let me make sure I compile the other things that I talk about regularly in one episode. So, welcome. I'm Lisa A. Smith, founder of the Black Health Academy, also known as the Plant Protocol, a coaching company where we specialize in helping marginalized communities improve their healthy life expectancy, honey. And it is a blessing, and I'm in love with my work. And so, let's talk about what's required to really not just live long, but to live long healthy. If any of you guys that are listening or watching, if you're like me, you're not just trying to be alive. You probably have seen enough, have experienced enough, and heard enough stories to know that just being alive is not good enough. And so we really got to aim to stay healthy as long as possible. So just understand that that's your first takeaway for today, that you have 2 life expectancies, essentially. You have your life expectancy, just how long am I going to be on earth? And then you have your healthy life expectancy. How long am I going to be healthy on earth? In our coaching program, the Plant Protocol, Farm to Table coaching program, we have a life expectancy quiz that we give our students, and it gives them those 2 numbers. It says, based on your habits, based on the information you shared, you can expect to live till 86, but you can expect to be healthy until 72. You can only expect to be healthy until 62. And it really blows our students' minds to see that juxtaposition between their health span and their lifespan and how many years can be between each. How many of you guys, I'm sure, have seen or known someone or been a caregiver for someone who they might have lived into their 90s, but y'all was taking care of them for the last 15 years of their life, right? They needed assistance to stay alive those last several 5, 10, 15 years. And so we don't want just lifespan, y'all. We're going after health span. So let's talk about 5 ways you can improve your healthy life expectancy. I remember I never really had an issue with sleep. Like, since being a plant-based vegan, like, I sleep good. Like, and how do I judge whether or not I sleep good? I go to sleep easily, right? And I wake up feeling good and refreshed, right? I normally go to sleep easy, wake up feeling good and refreshed. So I, for the last several years have said, I sleep good. I get good quality sleep. Now, some of you guys know at the Plant Protocol right now, we're currently doing a 30-day vegan, salt, oil, and sugar-free challenge. Now, I've been a plant-based vegan for a long time. I've been a whole food plant-based vegan for a long time. I've been sugar-free for a long time, right? I've been minimal oil for a very long time. I've never went without salt, and I've never went completely without oil because I never really had to, right? For certain pre-existing conditions, people need to be completely oil-free. And so, but I've always been minimal oil. Like I don't have olive oil, all that stuff in my house, but I usually get my oil from food. Like I would still eat, tortilla chips, for example. And so that's like corn, oil, and salt, right? And so, I was during this challenge, I've been doing the challenge with our challenger. So since June 1st, I've been no oil, no salt, and I was already no sugar. I was already vegan. And I've slept better. I was like, I didn't know that my sleep could get better. The very first way to improve your healthy life expectancy is you have to have a good sleep hygiene. Like I've never personally had a big challenge with sleep, but I know a lot of people do, right? I know a lot of people have insomnia. I know a lot of people have sleep apnea, right? I know a lot of people have work schedules that dictates that they're up at night and they sleep during the day, which is not what was intended for our body. Our bodies and our rest cycle is meant to align with, our circadian rhythm is meant to align with the rising and the setting of the sun. And so when people have to sleep during the day as opposed to at night, it really can throw things off in their circadian rhythm. And a lot of people don't realize how critical great sleep is to our healthy life expectancy and our longevity. And so that is the first one. And the things I'm going to present to you guys today are all like science-based stuff. We've studied different areas in the world who have the longest living people, right? And this data comes directly from these communities of individuals who are living way beyond 100 years old. And so like, I didn't even know. I was like, you know what? I'm already nailing life. I sleep good. I be dreaming, it's all good. And during this challenge, I have slept even better. And again, I don't judge sleep by how long I sleep. Like I think last night I went to bed after 1 a.m. and got up at 5 a.m. So last night I only probably got 4.5 hours of sleep, right? So I don't judge the quality of my sleep by the length of it, right? Because you can sleep 7, 8 hours and not be refreshed. I judge the quality of my sleep by the depth of it, right? Because we have different cycles we're meant to go through at night when we're sleeping, right? Our delta phase, alpha phase, REM sleep, all of that, right? And so the quality of your sleep, especially for those of you who are trying to lose weight, don't know that you lose weight typically when you're sleeping, right? A lot of the things you do during the day for the weight loss and for your health, it's working while you're at rest. But if you never get to that place of rest, and if you never cycle through all those cycles of sleep, you're compromising your health and you're compromising your weight loss journey and you're compromising your memory. Because when we sleep at night, that is when our brain takes all the data we collected from the day and converts it from our short-term memory to our long-term memory. So much magic happens at night when we're meant to be sleeping. And so those of us who have historically had issues and challenges with sleeping, it can really compromise your health in the long term. And some of you guys may know this, but if you're trying to navigate a day and you're sleep deprived, trying to navigate your day and you're sleep deprived, it really can impair your blood sugar levels. And it can really be dangerous from a functionality standpoint. Like, driving sleepy can be just as dangerous as driving drunk, for example, right? Trying to make decisions when you're sleepy and tired can be just as dangerous as being impaired on, some type of intoxicant. And so for those of you who have not prioritized good sleep hygiene, maybe you're staying up, screens are keeping you up. Maybe I remember in my last loft that I lived in, I didn't have a TV for years, right? And I didn't have a TV. So, and that loft was a proper loft, like where we didn't have any doors. Like the only door was to the bathroom, but the whole space was open. So I could see my bed from my workspace, right? It was a big loft, but it was really a proper loft and it was like wide open. And so in the area that we considered our bedroom, like we didn't have a TV, right? We didn't have a TV in a whole loft, right? And like that really made a difference for sleeping. Because I know a lot of us are like watching screens before bed and things like this. And it can be very dangerous if you already have a questionable sleep schedule, a sleep regimen. So sleep is one of the first things that I wanted to highlight to you guys as one of the ways to improve your healthy life expectancy is you have to make sure your body is getting put to rest. Your brain and your mind is getting put to rest consistently in a healthy way. Right? The temperature should be low. Ideally, the temperature should be like in the upper 60s. That's like the best sleeping temperature. You want to, if possible, I know some of us have work schedules, but if possible, you actually want to be at rest when the sun is down, right? To make sure our bodies are aligned with the circadian rhythm and with the cycle of the earth. You want to, if you have to sleep in the day, time is best to get blackout shades so you can mimic nighttime in your bedroom. And ideally, nighttime in the bedroom is supposed to be reserved for intimacy, right? And so like you're spending time with someone you love, even cuddling with a pet or a kid, but it's not really meant to be working because when you train your brain that you work in a certain room, it can be hard to cut it off. So I remember when I moved out of my last loft into my current loft, I remember when I was looking at lofts, I was like, I have to have a separate space that I work in. I can't work in the same area that I sleep in because my brain will be programmed to believe when we enter this space, we work. And so it'd be nice if you don't work in your bedroom, in your sleeping area. So those are just a couple tips. I've never did a whole episode on sleep, but your girl cold with it. Y'all know, y'all can hit me with anything. So it's important you guys understand how much sleeping is so important to our longevity. Let's get into number 2. So I told you guys we're doing the challenge right now. And we just at our very last class, I was joined by Coach Kiwi, who our plant-based athlete on the team, on the staff, and her and I were in a great, funny conversation. And we were talking about fitness and we were talking about exercise. And I remember during our VIP Q&A session at the end of our last challenge class, someone asked a very specific question. She's like, I can't do a whole lot from an exercise standpoint, but what can I do other than just walking? What can I do that's something that's more effective, right? Essentially what she was saying is that I feel like walking is not enough. I'm not gonna reach my goals just walking. So can you help give me some tips based on my limitations of things that I could do that's more effective than walking? And I answered her question and I told her, Kiwi answered the question, but I told her, you've made the first mistake already. If you think walking is not effective, then you're completely wrong. The second way to improve your healthy life expectancy is definitely to be walking. Now, more exercise, of course, exercising, period. But here's what the science shows. Like, we know exercising is healthy, weightlifting, running, different variable types of cardio. Some of y'all are super athletic and y'all doing like some super cool things. But I think people because there's so many ways we can exercise and get movement in, some of us have kind of minimized the effectiveness of walking. Now, what the science shows in the blue zones, in these areas that have the highest concentration of centenarians and people that live over 100, but not just live over 100, live over 100 healthy. So they're still in their right body, their right mind, and they're independent. They have a high level of independence. Is that they walk regularly. So it's not, you don't have to run. You don't have to do marathons. You don't have to do a whole bunch of weightlifting. You don't have to do, CrossFit and all of these things that can actually be harmful over time to the body and the joints if you're not careful and if you don't recover properly and if you don't have enough variety. But walking alone will improve your healthy life expectancy, right? By like many, many years. And so that is the second. So I walk regularly. It's so funny. Just this morning, I went out for a walk, right? And I was going my regular route and I was about to enter the park that I like walking through. And the security guy, he stopped me. He came up to me. I don't know what my issue is, y'all. I have an issue with authority. This happened to me last week too. Like they were doing, I guess, having an event in an area that I normally walk in. And they had like this metal detector on the freaking sidewalk. I'm like, why is there a metal detector outside? So there was a metal detector on the sidewalk, but we weren't entering into a gated space. Like I understand a metal detector outside if you're entering into like a gated space. Anyway, I didn't see the logic behind the metal detector. I didn't walk through the metal detector. This guy jumped in front of me and was like, "You gotta go through the metal detector." And so I have an issue with authority, like a real issue. I don't know why, but I felt fire bubble up in my spirit. I was like, "No, I don't." And I snatched out one of my AirPods. I'm like, "What?" God's still working on me. Whew. I'm like, "What?" You know what I'm saying? And he's like, "You gotta walk through the metal detector." And I mean, I begrudgingly, everything in me was like, don't do it. You ain't got to listen to him. Who is he to tell you what to do? It don't even make sense to you. Like, it was so much, oh, it was so much rebellion in my spirit. And I don't know why. And so I begrudgingly turned around and walked through the freaking metal detector, right? And with an attitude. And I instantly felt bad, like instantly felt bad. Like that didn't even have to, you giving this man attitude. This didn't even have to happen like this. So I said all that to say, just this morning, I'm walking into the park that I usually walk into. And again, another security guard came up to me and was like, "Hey, sis, you can't come this way." He called me goddess or something. "Hey, beautiful goddess," whatever. He's like, "You can't come this way." So I felt the bubbling in my spirit from the metal detector situation just, the week prior. And I was like, "Lisa, nope. You felt horrible after that. Don't get an attitude with this man. Like, be nice. Just listen to what he's about to say and just act accordingly." Right. So he's like, "You can't come this way." I was like, "Why?" That's the best I could do. I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because we're doing the fireworks tonight and we like keeping the park open and clear." It's no. I'm like, "That makes sense. Okay, have a good day." And I turned around, I found another way to walk, right? And that story had nothing to do with what I'm trying to share with y'all today. But my point is I was walking. That was my point. And also my point that I gotta work on my temper. I don't know where it be coming from, but when an authority person tell me something that I don't think I have to do, it's a wild ass time in my spirit. So um so I was walking and I got my miles in this morning still. And then after that, there was some strength training. And it was a beautiful thing and it feels so good. And as much as I do hard workouts, like I do really hard workouts too, right? Like any given day, you're gonna catch me with some reverse lunges, with some squat jumps, with some deadlifts, whatever it is. And so I do the hard stuff too. But I have never in my mind allowed myself to think that me just taking, a 5 mile walk is not enough or not good enough. And so that's all I want to share with you guys. I just took a really long time to say that walking is one of the best ways to extend your healthy life expectancy, right? Health span versus lifespan, those are two different numbers. And so if we're trying to live long, you could do that. But if you're trying to live healthy for a long time, the blue zones have showed us like these centenarians in these different parts of the world that are living long, they're walking on a regular basis. Like they can't deadlift anymore at 95, but they can damn sure take a 2 mile walk. And so if you guys are not walking and moving and being intentional about that, it is definitely time to start. So that's number 2. That's the second way. The third way is so this past weekend, I'm like, let's talk about every way. Let's start with a story. So just this past weekend, I was in DC, right? And yesterday I had a wonderful lunch with a really good friend of mine and colleague. And she invited someone else. She was like, "I want the 3 of us to have lunch together." And I think it'll be so cool for you guys to meet. Like we're all in the same health space for like the health for Black people. And I think it will be so cool. And so we went to Hell's Kitchen. Side note. So we went to Hell's Kitchen, y'all, because I found them on my Happy Cow app. That's a tip for y'all who trying to live this plant-based vegan lifestyle in these streets, right? That's the app I use to find plant-friendly places around me. So I was like, okay, Gordon Ramsay, all that junk you be talking about vegans, look at you with vegan options on your menu. So we went to Hell's Kitchen, which was beautiful, off the water, down at the wharf. It was just a whole vibe. And I got like the vegan scallops, we got the vegan risotto, we got the beluga lentils, and this phenomenal market salad. Fire. So if anybody is ever in the DC area and you need some vegan options, definitely check out Hell's Kitchen. They had some dope options and it was delicious. It was phenomenal. So anyway, we're at Hell's Kitchen, right? And we're out to lunch. And it is so fun to meet new people, especially when you meet new people with aligned values and purpose and mission and just kind of in the same space in your life. So I met a new female founder and we were able to have like this 2-hour lunch yesterday and we're kicking it and we're talking. And then afterwards, I got to spend some more time with her because she ended up dropping me off somewhere. I needed a ride. And that was like another 40 minutes of us having a good time and talking. And the next way you extend your healthy life expectancy is with social connections. Like one of the most misunderstood things about health is that the way we live long, despite popular belief and popular rhetoric, is not just by lifting weights, walking, running, and eating plants, but is genuinely by making sure we have healthy, quality relationships with the people in our lives. Social connections is the number one way to improve and the number one determinant of our life expectancy and our healthy life expectancy. And so for me, I've been very intentional by joining masterminds and joining communities and having coaches that have communities in the last several years. I've been very intentional about being in spaces where I can meet new people. And because I'm more naturally introverted, it's easier for me to meet new people where we already have a built-in connection. So I won't probably ever really meet perfect strangers because I ain't got nothing to say to you. But if we already have something in common, that's a tip for you guys who are interested in making new friends. I was just telling this to my mastermind recently because we're talking about relationships right now. Is that one of the best ways to meet new people and form new relationships is by getting in spaces where you guys already share a common interest. So like one of my mastermind members, she's like an avid bike rider. So she's like, guys, I found this like Black Girls Ride or this Black Girl Bike Club or whatever it is. And so suffice to say, she goes on the bike rides with them. She's going to meet new people and she's going to have great energy with a few of them. And boom, you got new friends. And so for those of you who are looking for those new friends, because some of us, it is so important to continue to meet new people and make new friends and learn new things about new people because it really helps us to live long. It really adds like some excitement and flair in our lives. And one of the best ways to do that is to have a common interest. And so for this particular female founder that I had lunch with yesterday, we're both in the health space for Black people. And so it was just easy to talk. It was just easy to, even though we had a mutual friend who was at lunch with us as well, who thought we should meet. So that's probably another pro tip, which is like really live out loud with what you believe in, because when other people know what you believe in, they can introduce you to new friends as well. When other people know what you stand for, they can, because it's just so funny. I just thought about this. The mutual friend that we had in common that we were out to lunch with, I was introduced to her by somebody in one of my programs who's like, Lisa, you need to meet so-and-so. So all my new friends most recently have come from people who knew me, knew what I was into, knew what I stood for, and was like, hey, I know somebody who stands for that too, and I think you guys should meet. And so the social connections really improves our health. Social connections really helps us to live a long time. And so if you guys are not nurturing your current relationships, and if you're not intentional about forging new relationships, I need you to make it happen. Like having people you love and people that love you in your life, making sure you're spending quality time with them, making sure you're intentionally, as quickly as possible, resolving and reconciling any conflict or bad energy that comes up. Like just communicate. And I hate putting just in front of communicate because communication is not easy all the time. Things can be really hard to say, right? But communication is so important to keep relationships healthy, right? And so you guys have to understand that the humans in your life are going to be responsible for helping you to live long. And so if longevity is your goal, social connections have to be a priority. So that's number, whatever. Was that number 4? I don't know what number that is. Sleep, movement. Yes, number 3. Okay, social connections. The next one we need to talk about real quick that we ain't got to really talk about because all my episodes is about it is this diet. Now, let me tell y'all something. Y'all already know y'all need to eat right? We already know that. We know we need to eat right. We know we need to eat like we got some sense. Amen. Okay. So we know we need to eat right. We know we need to eat like we got some sense. But from a science standpoint, like what has the data shown for longevity and for people who live a really long time? I'm gonna be honest. Now I'm a full-on vegan. Like I'm vegan. Like I don't touch any animal products, no fish. Somebody just asked me the other day, like, oh, so you eat seafood? It's like, Whew, no, I don't. I don't eat fish. Okay, I don't eat seafood. I don't occasionally eat it. I don't. No, I don't. I don't eat any animals. Okay, and so but what the data has showed is that, individuals who live in these blue zones and like are living a really long time, they're on a mostly plant-based diet, right? And so they might still have some trace animal products in their diet. Like it's overwhelming. I think the number was about 80%, 80, upward a high 80%. I can't remember. But definitely a plant-based diet is the way to go. Now, the difference too, we got to be like serious is like they are on a whole food plant-based diet too, not a junk food vegan diet, right? So they're not eating all this processed mess, all this vegan junk food that's coming on the scene because so many people are letting animal products go. And so food companies are doing what? They're making meatless and vegan products, but they're still trash, right? So they're still full of preservatives and colorants and food dyes and salt and oil and sugar and all that junk. So you have to be careful if you're going to go live an animal-free lifestyle. You still want to make sure that plants is the foundation. And so the operative word in a plant-based diet is plants. Do y'all know some people ain't eating animals and they also ain't eating plants? I'm like, you just really rolling the dice, huh? How often you gamble? Like how long you done had a gambling habit? Like, well, at least I don't go to casinos. No, gambling with your life, fam. You mean tell me you done gave up the chicken, but you also gave up the kale? Like, it's people really out here who vegan who do not eat plants. I'm like, what? Like, you just living off of what? Just processed junk food, fake burgers and fake cheese? Like, what is you doing? Anyway, y'all issues. Get help for your gambling problem. Okay. So anyway, back to my story. So, a whole food plant-based diet is essential for longevity because what really happens is, we take all of the saturated fat and cholesterol out of our diet. Well, in America, the number one killer is heart disease. Okay. So heart disease, there's many forms of heart disease, right? You can have congestive heart failure. You can have all these type of things. But essentially, it's the clogging of the artery. So when you take the animal products out of the diet, you significantly reduce your chances of having atherosclerosis, okay? All this plaque buildup in your arteries, right? That eventually stops our heart if we don't get in front of it. And so also when the growth hormones, there's so much wrong. The medications that they give the animals to keep them alive because because of the mass production of them. It's just a horrible landscape for eating animals in America. 1-star, do not recommend, right? So when we take all of that out of our diet, right, we increase our probability of not succumbing to a lifestyle disease. So when you I was just talking to my coach the other day. Many of you guys know my coach is Dr. Eric Thomas, ET, and I was texting with him. And he was telling me how good his run felt that day because he hadn't had beef like all week. And he was like, I feel so light. I feel so good. I'm like, yeah, like I'm co-signing like, yep. He's like, I went a couple days without animal products and I feel so good. And I feel so good during my run. And I'm like, yes. I don't think most people understand that like the heaviness of meat, how much your body has to work to try and digest it. But then all of the things you get when you eat it, like all of the cholesterol, all of the saturated fat, all of the sodium, they pump chicken and stuff full of salt water to like make it fat. Like it's so many things, right? They give the animals antidepressants and all of these different medications to keep them alive long enough to kill them. Right. Antibiotics, so many things. And so and they give it to fish too, by the way, because our seas are so contaminated. Our bodies of water are so contaminated. So you get that when you eat fish too. And then of course, fish is just naturally high in cholesterol and all this stuff. And so I don't think people understand how much you increase your probability of not succumbing to a lifestyle disease when you take these things out of your diet, right? But I understand, like most of us were raised on animal products, as was I. And then not to mention, if you already feel all right, you don't see a reason to. Like some of us are sick and we're willing to do anything to feel better. But some people are not sick and they're not overweight. And so giving up animal products don't even sound like it's necessary. Like, yo, I'm thriving with my salmon and my chicken. So why would I stop? And I get it. And so, but from a scientific standpoint, as far as driving down the likelihood of having a lot of these health challenges as we continue to get older, taking the animal products out is the way to go. Now, notice I said probability. Possibility is a different number. The possibility between me and an animal eater to get a condition is exactly the same. It's possible. It's possible, 50-50, right? But probability is different. So there's a difference between possibility and probability. Yes, it's possible for me to get cancer. Yes, it's possible for me to get heart disease. Yes, it's possible for me to have kidney failure or diabetes, but probability is real low. It's just not a whole lot of plant-based vegans with type 2 diabetes. I'm sorry. It's just not a whole bunch of plant-based vegans that are obese. It's just not a whole lot. It's just not a whole lot of us dropping dead of heart disease. I'm sorry, right? So the probability is lower. Okay. And so that's what I'm shooting for is the probability. So of course that's number 5 or 4, right? Of how to improve your longevity is to really consider getting as close to a whole food plant-based diet as possible. And your diet on this lifestyle is going to be made up of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. Powerhouse foods. Powerhouse foods. Like things like mushrooms and sprouts are so cancer fighting, it's crazy. Like it's so much medicine in food and plants, y'all. Like all plant protein comes from plants. It's just amino acids are found in the plants. The animal eats the plants, we eat the animal. So the animal is just a middleman when it comes to protein. Like food is just so medicinal. And the last thing I'll say about this before I get to number 5 is food is not just medicinal from the neck down, right? So everything I've named up until now has been more like neck down health challenges, right? Diabetes, obesity, heart disease, atherosclerosis, right? But for me, one of the most powerful results I got from removing animal products and refined sugar and almost all oil out of my diet was from the neck up for me, right? So the way my brain works, my recall, my ability to concentrate, my emotional intelligence, being able to process my emotions better because I don't have all that hyperactivity in my brain from sugar and hormones all crazy. Like it's just so different. And so I was talking to someone yesterday. We had the film premiere yesterday, and he came out the film, and he's like, "What? So plant-based diet, huh? Okay, so it'll be good for my hypertension, huh?" And he's like, "Well, what it do for you?" Right? He thought I was about to get into all the from the neck down stuff. I'm like, "Oh, my brain is next level. Like I'm running laps around these people out here, right? Like I'm creative." Right? Like I can process my emotions, my concentration. I'm currently writing a book and I'm just locked in. It's just easier. Just things come, neurological functioning just comes easier. I'm like, it's crazy. Like my ideas are through the roof. Like it's just phenomenal. I feel more intelligent. I really do. I feel more intelligent. And so he was like, I saw the shock on his face. He was like, oh, right? Because he's about to, I hear you, I hear you. I can get off my hypertension pills if I go plant based. But when I tapped into that brain, he was like, now, wait a minute, do tell, right? And that's what I don't think a lot of people understand that your food really does impact your mood and your food really does impact how your brain operates. And so when it comes to like avoiding dementia, when it comes to like avoiding a lot of different types of cancers and things that we are considered to be conditions that we just naturally are going to succumb to as we age, the breaking down of the body. Like it's not all true. Like there's really a way to preserve this vessel that we're in, and a plant-based diet is one of the best ways to do that. Let's get into the last one, number 5. Number way to enhance your healthy life expectancy. Healthy life expectancy, and this is my favorite one on a planet. You guys already know. The Japanese call it ikigai, right? Which means your reason for being. And so what we've learned by studying the longest living people in the world is that one of the best ways to stick around and be healthy the whole time is to have meaning and purpose in your life. Now, y'all know what we call it in my ecosystem. Call it being radically obedient, right? And so the Japanese call it ikigai, and it's really about having meaning and purpose in something that really gets you out of bed in the morning. And so I told our challengers when we first started the 30-day vegan challenge, I told them, my purpose is you. Like you're my assignment. Like I'm on here. I wake up every day because you guys are my assignment. I got a beautiful message from a challenger just this morning. Like she literally sent it to me less than an hour ago. And she was like, thank you. I don't know if anybody has ever heard this sentence from somebody in the work that you do. But I've heard it multiple times now in my many years of being a coach. And it still just like gives me a little tingle. You know what I'm saying? She literally said, thank you for changing my life. Like I'll never be the same. I don't know how many people have ever heard, thank you for changing my life. I don't know if y'all have ever had that experience where you have been personally, not like secondhand, not like third hand, but you have been personally responsible for changing somebody's life for the better. Because some of y'all change people's life on some Tasmanian devil nonsense. Right? You need to get that devil out your spirit, okay? But I'm not here for a life lesson. But have you guys ever been responsible for changing somebody's life because of the work that you do? It feels amazing. That is the best dopamine hit ever. Like if you want to be addicted to something, be addicted to changing somebody's life. You know what I mean? And wake up every day. Use the gift that God gave you. Repurpose your gift to improve the life of somebody else. It's that simple and it's that hard, right? Like use the gift that God gave you to improve the life of somebody else. And you could do this in multiple, man, you could be responsible for repairing credit and change somebody's life. Like you could build houses. You could be a real estate investor. Like you could be, yeah, we know the typical life-changing professions, pastor, doctor, lawyer, right? But teachers change people's lives, like content creators. You could be a social media manager and change somebody's life. Like what is your gift and how can you make it life-changing? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Travis said, I got to get that devil out my spirit immediately. I promise you. And so having the fifth way to improve your healthy life expectancy is having a genuine organic reason to wake up every single day. Having a genuine organic reason to open your eyes and make it worth it, like every single day. What up, Anthony? So it is so important because like purpose heals. I tell our students that all the time, like purpose heals. Yeah, exercise. Yes, but purpose will heal you because what happens when you have purpose is you stop making it about you. What happens when you have purpose is you get to put things in perspective because you're not constantly mulling over and obsessing over your own problems and your own issues. Imagine waking up and becoming obsessed with somebody else's problem. Imagine waking up and being obsessed with somebody else's challenges. Imagine waking up and being obsessed with somebody else's limitations and having the gift and the talent and the mastery to help them to overcome that. And then you just waking up you just coming back from your morning walk and you get a DM from somebody like, thank you for changing my life. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm not even gunning for the DM. Like I didn't set out for that praise. Like I'm not, like I don't need to share it publicly, right? But I need to share it publicly, right? Because y'all need to know that it really is possible for you to extend your own life by working to extend somebody else's. And it is nothing better. There can't be any better. Like I believe they making strides and advancements, but there can't be any more better medicine than self-actualization. Like there can't be a better treatment than radical obedience. I just don't believe it exists. I just don't believe it exists. I really don't. So here's the takeaway for today. Here's the takeaway for today at 37 minutes in. Here's what I need y'all to know. I started this episode off telling you guys that there was a difference between health span and lifespan. And what I realized like over my journey is that living long has become low-hanging fruit. Like there was a time where we were like out of here in our 30s and 40s. Like humans, Homo sapiens were not living into the 80s and 90s and hundreds. Like there was a time where, life expectancy was very much like 50. There was a time where, but now due to they've advanced technology so much, we've advanced medicine so much, we've made so many scientific discoveries. Like just the invention or the discovery of antibiotics got us living years longer. Different what they call the things that you take when you kids, those got us living longer, right? So there's so many advances in medicine, vaccinations. Thank you, Brian. So there's so many advances in medicine and technology that makes it, listen to me very closely, that makes it easier for you to live long without much effort from you. Say it again, Lisa. There's so many advancements in technology and medicine in our society, industrial society, technological era, that have made it easier for humans to live long without much effort from us. But here's the part that's still our responsibility. You can live long just because medical equipment exists that's going to help you. You can live long just because medications exist that's going to help you. But how long you live healthy is still an inside job. Huh? Okay. I want to make sure y'all got it. How long you live is now doesn't require much from you. It doesn't take much for you to live into your 80s and 90s. Like just avoid crossing the street when traffic coming, basically. Basically, right? Like like, oh, I'm gonna just take my blood pressure pill. I'm gonna use this cane. I'm gonna use this sleep apnea machine. There's so many things that could have took us out that exist now that help us to stay alive. But some of you guys have been setting the bar so low because you brag about people you know who lived well into their 80s and 90s. You brag about people living a long time, drinking whiskey and eating bacon every morning. Like you think the goal is to just wake up every day. If your goal is just to wake up every day, you have set the bar extremely low. I need you guys to understand there's a difference between lifespan and health span. And we want to extend your healthy life expectancy, not just your life expectancy. So don't brag about living at 80 and 90. Like that's no longer impressive. You want to know why? I'm gonna be like, yo, auntie ain't do that by herself, fam. like we had the medication that kept her alive for 10 years. Now, if she lived long and was active and on her feet and in these streets until she was 80 or 90, fully active, now I'm impressed. But don't tell me another person in your life who done live long, because these days you ain't even got to work that hard to live long, right? Again, just don't get hit by a bus. However, if you live long and healthy, like let me meet your 95-year-old grandma who still drive, grocery shop, still teach a class once a week, go swimming, right? Hang out with doing cartwheels with her grandbabies. Now I'm impressed because her health span is just as long as her lifespan. And that tells me she has done something significant. And so that's the same thing I want to impress upon you guys today. Living healthy is still an inside job. That's it. And that's all. Listen, and that really was happening this weekend. The Legacy Times Long is amongst us. So we're doing this 30-day challenge. We're ending the challenge on 30th, the last 2 days, doing a virtual summit called the Legacy Times Longevity Summit. Honey, because Ikigai, if you got a reason to live, then longevity should be your number one priority right now because you got to be around here. Now, I invited a whole bunch of y'all to my 150-year-old birthday party, and I hope y'all coming. So take these tips I gave y'all today so y'all can make it to my birthday party. But listen, this weekend, we going to dive deep. We got a bunch of speakers, we got coaches, we got testimonials lined up for y'all. So this weekend, June 29th and June 30th, we'll put the link in the show notes. We'll put the link in the caption, wherever you're listening to this. We are having our Legacy Times Longevity Summit. It's our first time doing this, but it won't be the last. I'm super excited. Saturday, June 29th is a free day. It's the free day. Saturday, June 29th. Sunday, June 30th is the VIP day where my very own coach, Dr. Eric Thomas, will be joining me in conversation to talk about what we've been able to do in his health to help him charge towards his legacy. And so I'm just super excited about this conversation because when we tie legacy and longevity together, honey, it's a game changer. Y'all want to know what the name of my talk is? My first talk on Saturday. I was just telling Kiwi this. I got all geeked out about it. I was like, the name of my talk on Saturday is gonna be the end of the hidden figure era. I'm so excited about this. It's the end of the hidden figure era. Like, I promise you, if I have anything to do with it, not another hidden figure will come behind me. Ain't none of us gonna be like, our legacy is about to be lived out loud while we're alive. Okay, it is the end of the hidden figure era, baby. So watch what I got to say about that Saturday morning. I hope y'all registered. Now, listen, if you're watching this and you are already in the 30-day vegan plant protocol challenge, you already registered for the summit. So you don't have to do a single thing unless you want to upgrade to VIP for Sunday with me and E. But if you're already in the challenge, and if you're already VIP for the challenge, you're good. You already got access to both days. But if you're not registered for the summit this weekend, then you need to be in the room June 29th and June 30th, Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern, all online. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. All you need is internet. And on Sunday, our VIP day will be happening from 10 a.m. till about 1 p.m. Eastern. It depends on how long me and E go, because sometimes we get to going, he gets to going, and time just gets to going. So y'all come get this work this weekend as we talk about longevity and we talk about legacy and how to marry those two together. So thank you, Kiwi, for dropping that link. Super excited to see you guys. Listen, challengers, I'll see you guys Wednesday. Shout out to Anthony Wednesday. This Wednesday, we're going to be talking about high blood pressure with Black men and how he has been able to beat it and get off of medication and what he's doing now to improve Black men and help them get off a hypertensive medication. So it's just a fire week. We just got a lot of programming happening this week. I'm super excited about it. So I will see you guys next Monday. Then next Monday, I'll be coming right off of the Legacy Times Longevity Summit. So ain't no telling what type of good stories I'm coming with on next Monday. So I'll see you guys then. Have a phenomenal week. Bye, y'all.